man, oh man, oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, today, let me just scratch my nose for a second, is cause for celebration. We're going to be talking about a particular game, but unlike previous videos where we've discussed this game, where we would talk about thoughts on the particular trailer or speculation on plot details, we're not going to be doing that tonight because, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, I am ecstatic to finally get on camera and give you guys my first impressions of Kingdom Hearts 3. Let's just let that sink in for a second. The ability to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 3 being playable from the comfort of your bedroom, on your console of choice, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, playing it on a TV that's atop a stand that y'all keep ridiculing me about, but you know what? This stand has meaning. It's very significant because it is the glue that holds things together. The fire that lives within this stand cannot be put out. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, being Kingdom Hearts fans, can relate to it. Because we've waited a long time for this game. 13 years approximately. I know people like to say, well, the game wasn't in development for 13 years. We know the game has been in development for roughly 6 years. But if you are a Kingdom Hearts fan, just the sheer excitement of being able to play a new game on a console, we haven't been able to experience that since 2006. So this is a big deal. It's pretty monumental. This is the first Kingdom Hearts game on a console in over a decade. And I need to stress that because talking about this game, I'm going to be mentioning some things about what they've included in it that might not seem like a big deal for other people who are playing games that release around this time, but it's a big deal if you are a fan of Kingdom Hearts and you've been playing the series for a long time and if you've wanted a true from the ground up experience built for consoles. So first things first, I need to tell you guys where I'm at this point in the video. I am currently halfway through the Tangled world, and I wanted to actually finish the world before I got on here and did a full-on first impressions video, but I felt as if, like, you know, I kind of be putting it off because then I'd be like, all right, I'll finish up the Tangled world, and then I'll start the next world and see where it goes from there, that I would actually be playing more of the game than is necessary to do a first impression, so I decided to cut it off there because I think I have a good idea of the game, its core mechanics, and what they're going for as far as the vision for Kingdom Hearts 3. So first things first, I don't know about you guys, but I got pretty emotional when I was watching not even the intro for the game, but the title intro. Yes, there are two in this because, well, you know, they had to make up for lost time. But there's an intro that plays that features an instrumental of Don't Think Twice / Chikai, whatever your preference is. And it's recapping a lot of the events that existed in the Kingdom Hearts series from Birth by Sleep all the way up into 0.2 Fragmentary Passage. I believe that's what the full title is. Y'all know square-enix in their names, Jesus. But just watching through that and listening to the music, even though it wasn't Simple and Clean or Sanctuary, even though it was all these older games, but just experiencing that to the beat of new music was just, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of emotional. You know, I wasn't on the edge of tears, or the verge of tears, I'm sorry. But I was just like, damn, man, like, I remember living through all these games. I remember the last time I got on camera and gave a first impressions of a Kingdom Hearts game was Birth by Sleep. This was back in 2010. That was over 8 years ago. The last time I did a review on a Kingdom Hearts game was Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, and that was close to 7 years ago. So just watching through all this stuff, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? You know, I've experienced this. I've played them multiple times, but nah, that shit cuts deep. And then when you get to the title menu and you're just sitting there like, this is happening. This is happening. That was me. I'm not going front, man. So getting into the main portion of the game that people really want to talk about, That, of course, is being the gameplay. This was what's really, I guess, caused a lot of controversy in the past couple of weeks as people have gotten, the ability to play the game, whether they secured a leaked copy or they got an early review copy. A lot of people were kind of wondering, how is this going to play? Because we've had a couple of Kingdom Hearts games since then, and they've kind of played differently. Playing through Birth by Sleep, it plays very differently from Dream Drop Distance, which plays very differently from Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. So what style were they going for with this game? It's kind of like, okay, it's going to be weird, but it's similar to Kingdom Hearts 2, not really though, and it's similar to Dream Drop Distance, not 100% though, and it's kind of got its own special flair to it. That's the best way I could describe it. The closest comparison would be Kingdom Hearts 2, but the thing is, gameplay-wise, it's not as refined as Kingdom Hearts 2. One thing I've noticed when playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, and this is subject to change as I get later on in the game, and maybe they introduce new special ways to do things, but the gameplay feels like they were going more for the spectacle behind it rather than refining the core mechanics. Just playing through the game, you'll notice this from the very beginning. It's so much focused on showing you what they can do with this new hardware. It's been over a decade since Kingdom Hearts 3 has been in the main spotlight, and we have this new power, so hey, let's take advantage to it. And unfortunately, it doesn't really work out too well. One of my biggest complaints about the game thus far is the attraction commands. Not necessarily the fact that they're included in the game, it's just the fact that you cannot turn it off, and it becomes increasingly more irritating the more times that you're trying to execute certain actions and then an attraction command comes up. I know some people like to say, well, you can just cycle through it by pressing L2 and then it's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about it, but try doing that when you're outside of combat and you're trying to open up a treasure chest or something, and then this magical, attraction comes up with the long-ass intro that you can skip. I will mention that right now, but it's just like, why can't we have a particular command in the menus where we can choose whether or not we want it on or off? And why can't we choose which particular attractions we want? It just seems like it's based off of an RNG system where depending on what you do, some stipulations, it affects whether or not it's the attraction you want. And that kind of sucks because not all attractions are made the same. Some are better than others, and that's pretty much all I want to say on this because it's not really a big concern in the game, but it is something that's like a nagging irritation. Other than that, they've also included more team attacks with Donald and Goofy. They're definitely a lot more involved in the combat this time around. Sometimes to the point where you'll just be, button mashing X and then you can initiate an ability with Donald and Goofy separate from their respective triangle attacks. I know obviously, it's no longer exclusive, so people playing on Xbox are like, triangle attacks, what do you mean? But damn it! Y'all weren't in the trenches like we were back in 2000, so y'all know. We call them shits triangle reaction commands. And speaking of reaction commands, they are nowhere to be seen in this game, which is very surprising. I think I would have preferred them actually include them this time around, as opposed to just regulating some of Sora's abilities to a second form, which leads us into another new interesting addition into this game, the Keyblade transformations. Keyblades, in the Kingdom Hearts series have been really interesting. Some are better than others. They have better stats and stuff equipped to them. But Kingdom Hearts 3, what it really drives home and what it wants you to do when playing this game is to use multiple Keyblades. So Sora has it set where he can equip 3 Keyblades all at one time, and you can just cycle through them by going through the D-pad. And each of those Keyblades has their own special, unique ability attached to them that is different than other ones. Like the Kingdom Key, for example, gives Sora the ability to go into this second form, and that's where he can access some of these other abilities. The classic Kingdom Hearts abilities, such as Ars Arcanum or Ragnarok and stuff like that. You can use that in combat. Likewise, if he's using another Keyblade, it could be something completely different. And there's a lot of cool, interesting, unique things attached to them, so they're all not the same. And it really does promote you playing it differently depending on what Keyblade you have. And I really like that. It's like every single Keyblade has their own drive form attached to it. Y'all remember the drive mechanic from Kingdom Hearts 2. This is what I feel it is for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I know some people are going to be kind of turned off by it because it promotes playing with a certain Keyblade over another rather than you having one set Keyblade, that can do a lot of things, and then you just go into the drive forms and do it that way, But I personally think that it's like a cool little subtle nuance, and especially it shows, again, it goes back to what I was saying before, how it really shows off the power of these newer systems and how they're able to pull off stuff that they couldn't do on the PlayStation 2, on the 3DS, and the PSP. So in that respect, it's just really cool. So from a spectacle standpoint, Kingdom Hearts 3 is unmatched. Like, just the animations that go into it, like the switch to Unreal Engine 4 is definitely on display in this game, and I love it. The game is beautiful. It runs great on my PlayStation 4 Pro, and I just love every single thing I'm seeing in combat, man. It's just, the game is so alive, and everything about the world is just so detailed. You know, just NPCs going around through town, and granted, you know, NPCs really ain't something to get excited about, but again, since this is the first time that they are actually alive in the Kingdom Hearts series, and you can talk to them and they have full voice acting, it's like, whoa. So it doesn't really matter to you that sometimes they just regurgitate the same lines over and over and over again when you're walking by it. It's just really interesting because it's like a little piece that they added that really makes it feel as if these worlds are alive. But before I get on to talking about the worlds themselves, let's finish up the discussion on gameplay. I know I'm kind of all over the place and it's sounding scatterbrained, but excuse me, man. I've been waiting for a game for 13 years, so bear with me for a second. While all the spectacle stuff is great with the combat, I just don't feel as if it was really an evolution on top of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. I still believe that is the pinnacle of the franchise, as I'm sure many of you will believe. And playing through that game, I felt like there was more strategy attached to it, especially when you were playing it on some of the higher difficulties, which Kingdom Hearts 3, whether you're playing it on standard or proud mode, this game is a walk in the park. I think playing through the game, I only died twice, and that was because of my own errors, you know, like manual error. Like, I was just sitting there texting my girlfriend, and then, oh shit, my health is low, let me try to heal. Nope. I got wrecked by a Heartless that I had no business getting wrecked by, but I wasn't paying attention, and instead of pausing the game like normal people should, that happened to me. But that literally just goes to show you that this game is just so freaking easy that you have to literally put in effort to want to die, even on the hardest difficulty. Like, that is not cool. I know you can equip like the level 0 thing and you can play the game with no experience or whatever, but I don't feel as if you need to impose, you know, these restrictions on you in order to get some difficulty out of the game. When you're playing the game, it should be challenging enough, and then when you rank it up to higher difficulties, that's where you should start feeling like, okay, you know, I can't just go and mash X like crazy. I can't just do this. I need to actually buckle down and learn the game, which is what happened when you played Kingdom Hearts 2 on proud mode, and you played all the other games in the series. When you're going through them on critical, you have to learn the game and figure out the times when you're supposed to block and you're supposed to use certain things. It's not just mashing X over and over and over again. In this game, motherfucker Sora be leaping across the screen. You can just keep mashing X and you kill all of these Heartless. Occasionally you have to dodge, and then that's it. So gameplay wise, while it is a lot of fun to play and I do enjoy using all of the various new mechanics they've included in the game, I just wish that it was more difficult and challenging, because sometimes when I'm playing this game, even though I'm having fun, I'm just sitting there and I'm mashing X like it's going out of style, man. I should never be playing a game and just mindlessly mashing a button just to get myself through it. Like, I shouldn't be able to do that. I should be focused and engaged on all of the enemies that are on screen, whether they're 3 enemies or 30, you know? Like, this right here is not what I wanted from a Kingdom Hearts game, especially considering the wait that we've all had and how we've seen the Kingdom Hearts fan base has no problem playing games on higher difficulties and doing stuff like speed runs and all this crazy stuff. Like, it just, maybe they'll have time to patch it once they're done figuring out where they want to take this game as far as DLC is concerned. I'll talk more about that later. But as it stands, gameplay, very fun, but it's not challenging whatsoever, and that's kind of a knock against it. Now, going back to something I mentioned before, talking about some of the more positive aspects of the game, the worlds. Now, from the worlds that I have played, Kingdom Hearts 3 is actually pretty funny, because the way it starts out, I'll go so far as to say it's actually pretty bland and bad, because I was playing this game and I was going through Olympus, and you know, we've seen this shown off multiple times throughout the trailers, so you're thinking to yourself, all right, this is just gonna be lit, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna really hook us into the experience. Nah, it was pretty boring for the most part. I didn't find anything involved in the Hercules world that was really cool and just like, wow, this is like, what a spectacular intro segment. Like, this is just so awesome, you know? And you could say that that's kind of a trope in the series. You know, the beginning of the games are kind of mundane, you know, going through Kingdom Hearts 1. You got to collect items to build a raft. Going through Kingdom Hearts 2, Roxas. Need I say more? But despite all that stuff, I felt like there was some charm attached to those games. You know, with Kingdom Hearts, it's supposed to show, you know, that these kids want something more out of life. So what are they doing? They're building a raft. You know, Kingdom Hearts 2 it kind of remedied the sequel approach where you have to relearn the game constantly. You know, like how every single God of War, for example, has to find a new way to depower Kratos. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, they went about it as, you know, based off of the story elements of Chain of Memories. In addition to, you have this new character, you don't know anything about him, so we're just going to teach you the combat anyways. You know, it made sense in those games. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, just nothing is really too engaging in the first hour or so of the game. When you start getting out and about into the various worlds, such as Toy Box and the Tangled world, bro, like this is literally where you see all their time and effort went to. Like, everything, all the love and creativity and all the stuff that you saw in the trailers that got you hyped, it lives up. And then some, man. You're playing through these worlds and they're all so unique. They have varying art styles, the varying levels of humor and differences that exist between them. Some of the worlds, you know, are retellings of the movies. Others are just kind of their own original thing, at least from what I've experienced. You know, Toy Box is not a retelling of the Toy Story movies. Tangled is. But it's kind of cool because I feel like there's more charm attached to those retellings of the stories as opposed to, you know, previous Kingdom Hearts games where it was literally just, we're going to give you a condensed version of the movie story and we're going to change up some things to make up for the fact that you have Sora, Donald, and Goofy in the background. But that's literally what they all are for the most part. It's still the same in Kingdom Hearts 3, but you feel like more effort was put into involving them in the story and actually like creating dialogue between the characters that makes sense. Like if you're playing through the Toy Story world, it's not just, hey, you know, you have these random people who are here. Oh, we can't say who we are because we got to protect the world border. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's kind of like, you know, we're going to question why you are here. You know, Buzz is kind of on edge as to the identity of these characters. Like, no, I'm not going to believe this. And it actually plays into the story rather well. Going into Tangled and how it just, oh my God, bro. Tangled feels like you're playing the movie. And that is the highest compliment that I can give it, man. I love it. It's so beautiful. It literally, the art style is ripped straight from the movie, as is Toy Story. And it's just, bro, I'm geeking out. Like, my inner Disney child is just freaking out. If this game came out when I was a kid and I was able to do all this stuff, it would be the greatest game of all time. I would just be playing this game constantly. And I love it, man. I love it. And I cannot wait to get into the other worlds, such as Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen some crazy things online about that. I can't wait to get into San Francisco. I believe that's the name of the world from Big Hero 6 out of 10. And then, of course, Frozen. We got to let it go, man. Just let that hate go and love it in Kingdom Hearts just for this time, people. But, yeah, you can definitely tell where all of their time and effort went to as far as providing you the game with an experience. Because Kingdom Hearts 3 is an experience. In that respect, I can't give them nothing but high props. Like, I literally have to give them all the praise in the world because these worlds really do feel like their movie counterparts, which I guess is something that they were trying to achieve back in 2002 and back in 2006. And if this is the future for where they're going as far as, you know, like just incorporating more of these worlds and Pixar worlds and stuff, I can't wait to see what they have for the future. Now, that being said, you know, all this Disney stuff is great. We got to talk about some Kingdom Hearts story-related stuff. Again, I'm not too far in the game, so of course the story is not, like, you're not getting into real crazy, like, oh, OMG, I can't believe that. Like, not a lot of stuff has happened within the main Kingdom Hearts story. Like, we had a couple of scenes there, but of course, for spoiler purposes, I'm not going to discuss them until I do the next discussion video after I beat the game. But I will say this is a Kingdom Hearts game through and through as far as the story. It doesn't really do a great job at helping newcomers get caught up to speed. I mean, they try. They really try. Like, they have, like, conversations where characters are just giving off exposition and doing flashbacks, and a lot of people will say, oh, that's enough, that you don't need to play Birth by Sleep to understand. No. Nigga, no. Don't you dare say that. You're better off just going online and watching a cutscene theater of all of Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance rather than worry about Kingdom Hearts 3 trying to explain it to you. So anyone who's trying to damage control is saying, they do it. No, they don't. No, they don't. You guys are Kingdom Hearts fans and you're lying to yourselves just to defend that fact. Another thing y'all gotta stop doing to try to defend the game is stop damage controlling for the piss poor writing and the dialogue. Guys, Kingdom Hearts this stuff worked in the early 2000s. It was okay. It was funny because we were all caught up in the spectacle behind being able to fight against Cloud with Donald Duck and Goofy. Like, that was cool back then. But now, it's 2019. We expect better, more witty dialogue from a Kingdom Hearts game. This is a Kingdom Hearts game. Like, so everything comes off as really cheesy and corny and forced. And it shouldn't, considering you got some really good actors in this game. But what they have to work with, I just feel like somebody needs to get Nomura off of the dialogue portion of the games. Let him do his convoluted story stuff, fine. But just get someone who can actually make these feel, I don't know, believable and genuine. Like, I'm just walking through this and you have characters like Woody and Buzz and Sora. Like, that is just so much comedy to be had, and then it just never goes for it. It never does. It's just the same old, tired, safe Kingdom Hearts dialogue, friendship, my friends are my power. I love how even, this isn't a spoiler, but young Xehanort even pokes fun at that. He's like, oh, my friends are my power. Like, I got a good chuckle out of that. It was hilarious. But other than that, everybody else, like, even when they're retelling some of this stuff from the movies, like in Tangled, you know, it'll be really great when they're doing the Tangled stuff. But whenever Sora gets in the mix, it's like, shit. Dialogue went to shit. Oh, and that's like my biggest complaint thus far. It's like, why is this writing still so freaking, like, ugh, man. Like, I kind of wish there was an option to play the game in Japanese, just so I don't have to, like, actually recognize what is, like, being, like, going through my ears, man. And I know in Japan, it's not that much better. But I'm just using not being able to understand what they're saying as an excuse to cover up for the fact that, bro, this dialogue is really bad. Like, really bad. Like, Aquaman levels bad. Great movie, but that dialogue left a lot to be desired. Anyways, yeah, those are my first impressions on Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm really enjoying it thus far. I'm not going to talk about whether or not it's worth the 13-year wait until I complete the game, and I'm also going to talk about some of the other smaller things that they've included in the game, such as collectibles and all that stuff, because it's supposed to be a first impressions that I assume has gone on far too long. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the game, and I'll be playing it at a pretty conservative pace as to not burn myself out on the experience, because I've been waiting for this game for a long ass time, and I'll be damned if I complete the game in 2 days. Hell no. Like, no, in my luck, I'll probably finish it by next week. Anyways, for now, my name is NGS signing out. Like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.